I believe there's nothing strong.
1390 CSC, Paul Lanka and Odia Coast. Boy, it's been a long time since I've heard that name there. And nothing's stronger than our love at 1249. We are privileged this afternoon to have a real celebrity on the midday show here at CSC. Of course, those of you who may have just tuned in, we are celebrating our 55 years anniversary, 55 years of service to Charleston and to the Low Country. And we have a man who was on CSC radio, I guess, 10 years ago, Mike Hiott?
Oh, my Lord. It's been so long ago, I can't remember.
Of course, we had Frank Blair and Russ Long on earlier today, and those... I'm almost glad to say were before my time in radio, but this is more recent, in fact, so recent that I can remember when you first came to CSC. I was not working here at the time, but it was in 73.
Yeah, you were in the market, I think, as we say in the business, and I came...
Across the street.
You were across the street, and we had an interesting situation. We had a general manager at that time who was, we called him a crazy Cajun.
And we still do.
And he said, Mike, I want you to do this morning program. And I said, well, okay, what do you think we should do? And he said, well, I want you to play music and be entertaining. I said, what do you mean, be entertaining? He said, do things. I said, well, you're just going to give me carte blanche, I mean, you're going to let me run? And he said, what do you want? I said, well, let's see, I got to have some music. He said, that's no problem. I said, I'd like to have a newsman. He said, well, find one. And I found a guy named John Dozier.
Yeah.
And John is now working with educational radio.
Right.
And John is a genius in his own right. And, of course, he has an intellect that just, percolates on the horizon most of the time. And he gave us some great insights into the news stories.
Would John agree with that?
Yeah, John would probably say, right.
Okay.
He would. He probably wrote this.
Probably did.
Yeah. And the other thing I asked for an unlimited telephone budget. And the general manager said, well, what do you want an unlimited telephone budget for? And I said, well, I want to call some people, things that are happening around the world, around the country. I want to talk to them.
Were you single at the time?
No, I wasn't.
So that couldn't have been the reason why you
That couldn't have been the reason. Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah. Maybe you should run that by Mr. Zachary and see what he says. But we did that. The guy said, well, here's your credit card number. Have at it. And so we did. The first call we made was to... one of those houses in Las Vegas, and or in Nevada. It wasn't in Las Vegas proper, but it was in Nevada. And we talked to a madam out there, and it's great stuff. I mean, very interesting people.
Was this an everyday type of thing, once a morning, maybe?
Yeah, we tried to do it once a morning, and we called Sweden, and we talked to a Marine who was in Japan, and just stuff like that.
You called a worm farmer one time, too, did you?
Called a worm farmer. And
what was that conversation like?
It's kind of slow.
Okay, we won't go into that portion.
No. But we had a good time, and it was a pleasure for me to be associated with WCSC. It's a great radio station. You have great people here, and we add to it from time to time, and I see we were lucky enough to get you. So
well, thank you so much. And in fact, as I mentioned before, I was at another radio station when you first joined, and I used to listen to your show, which I guess is nothing wrong with that.
This is a mutual admiration society because I listen to you too. Well, that's funny. The folks at home probably don't realize that people do that. That one station will listen to the other and say, well, that was good.
People at my home know that because they have to listen with me.
Sure.
We've got a tape here, and this is the first time for me, Mike. I have not heard it yet.
A tape?
A tape,
okay.
Which it's apparently supposed to be a surprise tape for you and for me, too, since I haven't heard it. But I'll play that now, and we'll see what happens.
This is John Dozier. Mike Hiott, we could not be with you in person today. I had pressing business in the state capitol, but we do wish you the best here on the 55th anniversary of WCSC. And I hope that you are enjoying the day. And our tape message will just have to do today, and we hope it doesn't mess up the rug too much. Good luck, Mike.
Thank you, John.
Is that an inside joke there?
That's a typical John Dozier sign-off there. I have to say, in all fairness, John was a very key factor in our programming aspirations. And without John, we never would have been able to make the inroads that we made into the market because while we were entertaining the folks on one hand, John was keeping them informed and entertained right. at the same time. And if you can make news interesting, which of course it is, but the Dozier touch was something we really enjoyed very much.
You did a lot of firsts in Charleston. One of them, I think you were buried alive, I understand, at one time.
Yeah. A lot of folks wanted me buried, and they didn't care whether I was alive or dead. So, that was at the Port Drive-In, I believe.
Yeah.
Was it the Port?
I think so.
Or the North 52? I can't remember. It's been a long time.
It was one of the two.
Yeah. One of the two, and the guy called up and said, hey, we have it was a horror movie spectacular, and they had a string of about 5 of them, And he actually made a coffin and put a little fan in it and made it all nice and comfortable and little red light.
You didn't want to come out.
And I said, I'm not sure I want to go down in this thing, but he talked me into it, and he put my microphone down in there and a little radio.
How long were you there?
I was in there about 3 hours, I think. And it was kind of an eerie feeling because you got to the point where you really couldn't turn over too much, and you were lying down.
For me, that's 3 hours too long.
Yeah, it was fun.
I couldn't do that.
And people would come up and look down. We had a little tunnel that would come down into my coffin, and people would come and look down. And
here lies Mike Hiott.
Here lies Mike, and I would wink at him, And
how far below the ground were you?
Oh, about 3 feet.
3 feet.
Yeah.
3 feet too much.
Yep, you're right. I wouldn't do that again.
This question I probably already know the answer to, Mike. Do you ever miss radio?
Yeah, I think anybody who is in radio for any length of time, and most of us who are my age got started in this business in radio. And once you get into radio, I think it kind of stays in your blood. You never get. I guess like an old girlfriend. You never forget it totally.
I understand perfectly. Well, Mike, you've had a very successful career, and we appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you, and happy anniversary.
Break away for news. Thank you so much, and thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. My pleasure.